Peace, everybody. Welcome to Capital Combat. Name says it all. I'm Hakeem Rob. And today we're going to preview UFC 169, which has two title fights featuring Renan Barao versus Uriah-Faber, and then we have Jose Aldo against Ricardo-Lamas. We're also going to talk about Frank Mir versus Aldo-Lamas, and we're going to start off with that one because that is a big time matchup with heavyweight implications between two guys that probably the loser is gone out of the UFC. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, so I mean, we know Frank Mir, jiu-jitsu specialist, still a name in the UFC. He's had some wins, he's had some losses, but he is a veteran and he's going to give a tough match out each time out. Up against Aldo-Lamas, the huge dude from Holland, the kickboxer. And this is going to be an interesting matchup because
former K1 champ.
Former K1 champ. The dude knows what he's doing. And it's an interesting matchup because you got two underachievers in Frank Mir and Aldo-Lamas. Overeem is big, he's skilled, but he just doesn't have that stamina in the fight. And his last two fights against if I'm not Bigfoot Silva and
Travis Brown.
I was about to say Marcus Brown, but he's a boxer. We're just, why didn't you knock him out? That's all I asked for, was him to knock him out after he was dominating these performances. And what did he do? He showboated, dropped his hands, thought he had the head movement to beat these guys. Well, he didn't. And like we say in boxing, it's also true in MMA. One punch can change the outcome of a fight, and that's exactly what happened. Because after he got hit, he got beat.
Oh, in Travis Brown's case,
and
a kick.
That was a kick and a knee. So he should have taken these guys out. I'm just wondering if he's going to learn from his mistakes and take out Frank Mir when he has the chance.
Yeah.
Now, he's not with the Black Zillions anymore, right? He's training in Thailand, which, if you know, that is the home of kickboxing and Muay Thai. They kick trees, for God's sake. So he's probably going to come in prepared and fairly nasty and rely more on his kickboxing and Muay Thai and trying to stuff the takedowns of Frank Mir, who is better on the ground than he is standing up.
Well, going back a little bit, I wouldn't go as far as to call them underachievers. Frank Mir is a two-time UFC champ. Aldo-Lamas was the former Strikeforce champ, K1 champ. I think he was a Dream champ. These guys are pretty accomplished. Now, Aldo-Lamas is one of those live by the gun, die by the gun type of guys. I've seen just about all of his fights. I really like the guy. And he's either going to knock you out or you're going to knock him out. And that's probably going to be how this fight goes as well. If he doesn't stop Frank Mir by the third round, Frank Mir is probably going to stop him. And I'm just going to say, I like Aldo-Lamas more. I hope he wins. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Can he get knocked out? You're damn sure right he can. But that's why we watch, because it's intriguing to find out who's going to get stopped. Can he stop Frank Mir from taking him down? We know he's got some excellent stand-up because he's been a kickboxing champion. We know that he does okay in MMA. He's got like a 32 and I think 14 record in MMA, which isn't the best record, but at the same time is way over 500.
Yeah.
Frank Mir has had over 22 UFC fights, going back to like the early 2000s. The guy's been around the block for a long time, and honestly, one of the things that technically I want to go with Overeem is that he's always been a small heavyweight. Now, yes, Overeem came up from 205, but he was a big 205 as well. And Frank Mir was in the low twos as well when he was the heavyweight champ. He
right.
bulked up after the Lesnar fight because he thought he was too small. But then he got real slow. So that's the technical reason why I'm going to go with Overeem. You got to pick, Rob?
I'm going to go with Overeem. That's it. I'm going to go with Overeem. I think he's just too big, and I think he's going to learn from the mistakes that he's made.
All right. So that means Frank Mir is done. Thanks for the memories, champ. I hope he can get another fight because I like watching Frank Mir fight as well. So let's move on to the first title fight where we got Jose Aldo against Ricardo-Lamas. Now, and Ricardo-Lamas is a guy that probably not a lot of people have heard of. His last fight was January of last year, so it's going to be over a year since the last time he stepped in the octagon. But this guy is huge. He is a big featherweight. I mean, he is massive. And then he's like ripped up as well. Like, the guy's in shape. He is physically imposing. And from the fights I've seen maybe like 3 or 4 of his fights, he can take you down whenever he feels like it. If he's like, you going to the mat, your butt going to the mat. But in Jose Aldo, we've had a few guys that have been like that already, who he made look foolish. And Lamas is very easy to hit from what I've seen as well. And when you got somebody like Jose Aldo, when you don't know when it's coming, how it's coming, or how many times it's coming, you just know it's coming, I gotta go with Aldo big.
Aldo.
So let's move on. Now we got a rematch between him and Barao, who's been on like a 30+ fight win streak, against the California kid Mir-Overeem. I gotta be honest with you guys, I got another soft spot for this guy. Mir-Overeem was one of the guys that really got me into MMA. Him, Aldo-Lamas, Rampage. It was those 3 guys. I saw them and I was like, what is this MMA stuff? I love it. I mean, I even watched it back in the Ken Shamrock days. I mean, I was probably too young to understand what was going on, which is probably why I didn't like him until I seen these guys. But
right.
Still, be that as it may, Mir-Overeem was one of my favorite fighters. In the first fight, he got his rib broken by Barao and handcuffed completely in that fight. He's riding the win streak now. The only people he's lost to are champions. Mike Brown, Jose Aldo, and then Barao. He lost one other fight. I can't remember who. It was like way back, I think even before the WEC days. But the guy has been in nothing but title fights. He finishes people in multitudes of ways. He's got a vast toolbox. He's got a great motor. He's technically skilled. So really, this one is a toss-up for me. I'm not really sure, because from what I've seen of Barao, this guy's a cerebral assassin. Mir-Overeem is a buzzsaw. So maybe I should lean towards a cerebral assassin. As much as I love Mir-Overeem, I love me some cerebral assassins as well. I'm torn, guys. I'm real torn on this one. What you think, Rob?
I'm going with him and Barao. There's one thing to say about a guy who does nothing but win. Guess what? This guy does nothing but win. When I first heard of him, Hakeem turned me on this guy. I was like, him and Barao? Who the hell is that? And we looked it up. I was like, oh, this guy's the truth.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one thing. I like Faber. He's creative. He's technically sound. He's always in shape. But this guy's a winner. Like I say, he's a cerebral assassin. And history itself just says this guy's going to dominate. Even him and Barao's last fight, I don't have my jaw drop to the floor often. I've only did that with John Jones, Jose Aldo, what's my man named Anthony Pettis. The stuff he does. And I saw this guy hitting Barao, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, so much as we like Mir-Overeem, man, we just gotta roll with Barao for everything we just said. But I would love to see Uriah get that UFC belt. I would love to see that happen. That's why I'm going to watch. And I'm going to be rooting for Faber. And I'm putting that out there. And I don't care if you get mad. Because you know what? We all human. We got our favorites. And he one of my favorites. He is one of my favorites. Even though I picked against him, I'm still going to be rooting for him. So, let us know what you guys think. Hit us up on our Facebook page, Capital Combat. Hit us up on Google+, same name, Capital Combat. Comment below. Let us know what you think. Send us an email, capitalcombat@gmail.com. Let us know if you agree, you disagree. Hopefully we got some other well-versed MMA fans out there and some guys that are more well-versed than us. We want to learn more about MMA so you guys can teach us a thing or two. So hit us up with your comments, your questions, disagreements, agreements, whatever. We want to talk to you guys. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.
This is round one and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane, I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.